Hey kids, today I'm going to read you a story from the Jesus Storybook Bible. If you have this book at your house, please go get it and come back so we can read it together. The story we're going to read today is called God's Messenger, and it's from the book of Jonah. God had a job for Jonah, but Jonah didn't want it. Go to Nineveh, God said, and tell your worst enemies that I love them. No, said Jonah. Those are bad people doing bad things. Exactly, said God. They have run far away from me, but I can't stop loving them. I will give them a new start, and I will forgive them. No, said Jonah, they don't deserve it. I'll run away. Jonah said to himself, far away, so far away that God won't be able to find me. Then I won't have to do what God says. It's a good plan, he said, because as far as he knew, it was a good plan. But of course, it wasn't a good plan at all. It was a silly plan, because you can't run away from God. Jonah went ahead with his not very good plan. One ticket to not Nineveh, he said, and boarded a boat sailing in the very opposite direction. Well, it wasn't long before a fierce wind blew, and the boat started to lurch and pitch and roll, and everyone started turning green. Jonah sat bolt upright in his bed. You see, the first thing that went wrong with Jonah's not very good plan was that God sent a big storm after him. The sailors couldn't sail their ship properly. We're sinking, they screamed, and started throwing everything overboard. Their suitcases, their food, whatever they could find. By now, Jonah knew the storm was all his fault. Throw me in instead! And the storm will stop. The sailors weren't sure, but Jonah said, it's the only way to be saved. And so 1, 2, 3, splash! No sooner had Jonah hit the water than the waves grew calm. The wind died down and the storm stopped. Just then, when Jonah thought it was all over, he was sure he was going to drown. God sent a big fish to rescue him. The fish swallowed Jonah whole with one big gulp. Jonah must have thought he died. It was so dark in there like a tomb. But then he smelled the rotten food and felt the slimy seaweed, and he knew he wasn't dead. He was in the belly of the fish. Sitting there in darkness for 3 whole days, Jonah had plenty of time to think. Pretty soon he realized his plan was a very silly plan indeed. He was sorry for running away from God. He prayed to God from inside the fish and asked God to forgive him. After 3 days, the fish spat Jonah safely out onto a sandy beach. Just then, Jonah heard someone calling his name. Go to Nineveh, Jonah. This time, Jonah said yes. He went to Nineveh and told him this wonderful message. Even though you're far away from God, he can't stop loving you. Run to him so he can forgive you. The people of Nineveh, to Jonah's surprise, repented. They learned to do what God said and stopped running away from him, just like Jonah. Many years later, God was going to send another messenger with the same wonderful message. Like Jonah, he would spend 3 days in utter darkness. Of course, we know that messenger, and his name is Jesus. In your digital FID packet, I have a couple discussion questions that I want you to go over with your family. And I even have an activity for you to do. I want you to write a letter or draw a picture of a time when you had to forgive somebody who hurt you. Or maybe you need to be forgiven. Maybe you need to say that you're sorry for something wrong you did. You can use this as an opportunity to tell that person that you're sorry, to your brother, to your sister, to your mom and dad, whoever that may be. Draw them a picture, write them a letter, and say, hey, I'm sorry for the wrong thing I did. We know that when we forgive others, that we experience God's forgiveness in our own lives as well. Well, I hope you enjoyed that story time today, and you have a good time with the activity. Have a nice day. Bye.